Hey, what's up, everybody? If you're watching this video right now, chances are you're a stacker of silver and gold, or a collector, or maybe you do a little bit of both and you're a stacker and a collector, but we all purchase precious metals, whichever form, shape, and design that we purchase them in, we all purchase precious metals. But I think there's something else that's very important to consider. Now, I've never been a prepper. I've never considered myself a prepper. I'm definitely not a fear mongering channel. That's just not what I do, and that's not how I think. But I think it's very important to be prepared, not just purchasing precious metals, but also being prepared for other things that may or may not happen. One thing that I'm very grateful that I decided to do a couple of years ago, back after March of 2020, after things started disappearing from the shelf and didn't know when or if you were going to be able to purchase those items again, is I started stocking up. Now, I'm still not considering myself a prepper, and I don't consider myself to be a hoarder either. But I like to be prepared and I like to be well stocked. So with not knowing what item may or may not be available the next time you go to the grocery store, if it is available the next time you go to the store, I think it's very important to buy maybe just a little bit extra. Not to be a hoarder, not to create another crisis or another problem, but just to have a little bit extra the next time that item may not be on the shelf. In my opinion, it's very important to stock up on necessities and non-perishables just in case there's another run on whichever item it is that you want to buy. A few of the things that I like to stock up on is canned goods, canned beans, dried beans. I always stock up on bottled water. I shop a lot at Costco, and every time I go to Costco, I always buy a couple of cases of Kirkland bottled water, either in, I believe it's 17 or 20 ounces bottles of water, and even the gallon size bottles of water. I always buy a couple extra. Of course, I also stock up every time I go to Costco or whichever grocery store or whichever store I go to. I like to stock up on paper towels and toilet paper. And maybe also stock up on soap, laundry soap, and also soap for bathing. Again, not to hoard and not to create another crisis, but just to be prepared if there is another time when we are going to be facing shortages. I'm going to use this example. I like to play fantasy football. I've been playing fantasy football every year, at least one league, sometimes multiple leagues, for about the last 15 to 20 years. And in fantasy football, the one thing that you want to do in every position is you want to get a good player at every position before they're all gone. So somebody's going to start that run. There's going to be a run in receivers, in quarterbacks, in running backs, in defenses and kickers. Now, defenses and kickers are not your most important positions to draft in fantasy football, and it's one of the last positions that you're going to draft. But you don't always want to take the last defense and the last kicker either, although I usually take the last defense. But regardless, you don't want to have the worst receiver or the worst quarterback or the worst running back because somebody else started that run and you waited till the very last minute to draft your running back, quarterback, or receiver. In this case, where we're talking about food, water, maybe medication, cleaning supplies, or other types of soap, toilet paper, paper towel, toothpaste and toothbrushes, and whatever else you feel is a necessity. If you're a female, maybe female hygiene products. I don't think it's ever a bad time to be prepared and to stock up on stuff that you may need that may not be there in the future, especially if it's stuff that's not going to expire or have a very long in the future expiration date or best by date. I think a lot of people do confuse a best by date with a expiration date. A best by date or a best use by date is just meaning that the product within that packaging may start to not be as good or may not taste as good over time, but it's not necessarily going to expire on that date. Also, by stocking up on a lot of your non-perishables and necessities today, you're also getting ahead of inflation by paying today's prices. So I think it's something to think about. Next time you go out to the grocery store or go out shopping, if you're going to pick up 1 or 2, maybe pick up 3 or 4. Again, I'm not saying to get into hoarding food or hoarding other stuff that other people are going to want, or clearing a shelf or creating a run or creating a crisis, but just stock up on a lot of the items that you may want to purchase. Instead of just buying 1 or 2, maybe buy 3 or 4. I'm going to give you another example. Not too long ago, we had a water main break, and for about a month we were told that we have to boil water. And a lot of the stores in the area were out of water. Somebody started the run, and a lot of people, because they were afraid that there was going to be no more bottled water, everybody went to the store at the same time and bought up all the water. Thankfully, I had a lot of water because like I said before prior in this video, every time I go to Costco, I always buy a couple of cases of water, and I have water on deck. But a lot of the people didn't have that. So a lot of people ran out to the stores all at the same time and cleared out most of the stores in the area of bottled water. But I didn't need to do that because I already had my water for drinking. So just something to think about. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree. Maybe you're already a prepper. Maybe you don't need that. Now, I definitely am not a prepper. I don't have 50 years worth or 30 years worth of food. But I do have a few months where if the shelves in the grocery store were empty, I would be okay. Everybody within my household would be okay, at least for about a month or 2. Now, if it went very far beyond that, well, I might be in trouble as well. And then it may also be a good idea to have a little bit of this on hand also, and maybe some way to protect it. Doing it in a responsible way, of course. Water, toilet paper, 2 layers of softness and absorbency, and maybe a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Al dente in 9 minutes. Maybe some fats. I always like my clothes simply clean and fresh. Keeping the teeth clean and something else clean as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I appreciate everybody for watching. Smash that thumbs up on the video, like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll talk to everybody on my next video. Thanks a lot, everyone.